Hello everyone, hope everyone is all okay. I am just getting ready for the day. I need to film some content for work and just get everything done, and I thought I'd film my everyday kind of updated makeup routine. Like, some of it's pretty much the same, there's a couple of things I do slightly differently, and I just thought, you know what, while I'm getting ready, I just fancied filming it. So yeah, we'll get straight to it. Everything I'm doing is always affordable makeup. That is the main thing, and I've done my skincare as always before. So I've actually got back into foundation. I think I mentioned, like, when I very first did a video that I don't really like foundations, but this one I actually really like. It's the Wet n Wild Photo Focus. This is in nude ivory, and I think it was like £7, £8. So yeah, and I'm just really liking it. It's not heavy. I feel it blends nicely with my skin, with the type of skincare that I'm using at the moment. It can make my skin a little bit dry, but this doesn't seem to kind of notice it as much. So at the moment I'm just popping it on my hand, and then with a beauty blender, because I normally use a brush and then kind of go around with a beauty blender, but I'm going to go straight in with it. So I'm just going to like dab a bit and just go around the face, all the way down the neck a little bit. And I don't know, normally I never liked using a beauty blender fully because I always found it just kind of absorbed everything in, but I find it's kind of not doing that with this, which is quite good. I don't know if that's the product, I don't know if it's I'm using beauty blenders better. I'm not quite sure, but I do really like it. And I know everyone does theirs a bit differently, so obviously if you prefer to use a brush, then use a brush. If you prefer to use a beauty blender, I think some people use their hands. Like, it is completely up to you how you choose to do it. And I still leave the eyes out because that's when I go in with concealer. So concealer is next. I'm actually using a different one. I always love to use the 17 one, which I tend to use, but I went to a different Boots and they didn't even have hardly any shades of the 17 left. They all went for the deeper skin, so they didn't have any of my shades. So I went with this, which is the Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer in the shade Extra Fair. This is a little bit more than the 17 one. It's like, I think it was £4.49, and so still super affordable. And I do like this one, but I just haven't used it in a while. So again, just under the eyes, as I normally do, and then just dab across with the beauty blender. Again, just lightly dab, and you can see how brightening it still is. This one and the 17 one I do like. I forgot how much I did like this one, but I find with this one it can go a little bit cakey if you use too much, so just be aware of that. That could just be with me because I can get dry skin sometimes under the eyes, so it could just be because of that, but just bear that in mind to keep it quite light, because just remember, you can build everything. You don't always have to just smother it all on. So, and then once I've done the eyes, I'll just go again where any kind of blemishes are, any little bit of scarring, and where I want brightening. So again, on the forehead, a little bit here. And then at the moment, again, usually I use my brush, but I've been using my beauty blender again, and just very slowly and lightly just dabbing across. And this is kind of worked at the moment. I don't know what made me change doing what I've been doing. You get so used to doing something a certain way, and one day you just, I don't know if I was like, oh, let's try it like this, and I ended up really liking it. So now I'm using the beauty blender, very lightly tapping across. And I've used the same shade. Again, this is mainly because I am quite fair skinned, so I feel like it brightens my eyes as well as kind of matching with the rest of my skin. I could try going even brighter with the eyes, but I personally just feel, because I'm very fair skinned, it probably just wouldn't work that well. Now we're going to go into bronzer. So this bit is all the same. I just go in with my cream bronzer where the lid is still broken, but it's still going strong. I've still got a bit left. This has lasted me a whole year now. This is the Revolution one. So it shows that a little goes a long way, and also that there's an awful lot of product in here if it's going to last a year. And I'm still enjoying tapping along. Sometimes I will still do the swipes at first, but I do find when I do it like this, it is easier to blend. The only time when I tend to do a swipe on the face now is if I'm just trying to be a bit more quicker with my makeup, and I find if I just swipe and then quickly blend, then it's just a quicker option for me. But I do enjoy doing it this way. I find it makes it a lot more creamier. I feel like it blends a lot better and it looks a lot more seamless than if I did just kind of swipe and rush it. And then as always, this bit is still the same. Across, and then just do last little bits across the chin and bring it down just to frame it. With my blush, I'm doing a little bit different. Again, trying to go for that everyday, a clean girl, kind of still a bit of glistening, a bit dewy look. So I actually blend my liquid, concealers then, my liquid blushes with a liquid highlight. So I'm mixing these two colours together from 17, which is the Peach Dreams and the Soft Pink. You don't need to do this if you have a colour that you like. It's just I quite like the natural way that this looks when you combine the two together, which I think I have done in a previous video. But then I'm going to add in the You Do You highlighter drops, which are from Studio London. I've really been enjoying this, and I find when you blend it in with the liquid blushes, it doesn't kind of take off any of the makeup beforehand. So I'll put a little drop on my hands there, then a big dollop of the Soft Pink, a small dollop of the Peach Dreams. So I've got all three there, and then I just mix it in with my finger. Probably got way too much than what I needed, but I just feel the shade goes into a really nice kind of natural but shiny pink. I hope you can see the glisten in it. And then with my finger, I now tap across the cheekbone. Go on to the other one, tap across the cheekbone very lightly, and then the residue I kind of just put around my nose. Then with my blush brush, slowly tap, slightly go under the eye a little bit, just to kind of get, I don't know, people seem to do that and I quite like how it looks. Slightly around the nose, and again, dab very lightly across. Then with the remainder, I'll do one little tap, or two. With the one, go back on this side, very lightly tap, and then bring it across the face a little bit, and then tap again, and very lightly across, and slowly bring it up here, across the eye, and hopefully you can see that it's got that sheen to it, but it still looks very natural. That's what I find anyway. I always end up doing way too much, so I end up just wasting a load of product, but if you can measure it out right, hopefully you won't have that. But I just find it kind of brings my skin back to life, or brings my face back to life, by having that little bit of sheen with a bit of the blush. It's a little bit of colour without it being overpowering, especially when we're trying to go for like an everyday clean girl look, and especially because I have been using the foundation a little bit more at the moment in compared to like a skin tint. I want to make sure it's still looking fresh and not heavy. Then we move on to brow. So I'm still using this from Temu, which is like the NYX one. I haven't ever tried the NYX one, so I can't really compare, but I do quite like how this goes. But I do it slightly differently now. So I tend to do this, then I let it set while I do any kind of powder stuff, and then I'll go in with my brow pencil. The reason why I do it like this as well is when you're getting ready for your day or work or whatever it is that you're doing, I am very impatient, and I don't have time to just kind of sit here and wait for them to properly set and keep the shape. So I think while I'm getting ready, I'm like, I'll do this, do a bit of powder, and then by the time I've done that, it should have set properly. So they're all brushed up nicely. Going into powder. So the powder, I'm still enjoying this one. I feel again with my fair complexion, it works quite well. And then this hasn't changed. This I keep exactly the same. For this I try to be a little bit more careful because my eyes are slightly dry at the moment. So still tap. I'm doing it on the palm more so than the back of my hand recently. I don't know if that makes much difference, but that's just what I've started doing. And very lightly tap going down and then across. I know some people prefer using brushes. I know some people they put a lot of powder on, but again, because I have creases under my eyes, and when I do have moments when my eyes do go quite dry, it would just look so ridiculously cakey. So it's just trying my best to keep it light while still getting that setting in there. Then I'll just kind of pop it around my chin lightly. get a little bit to the top of my forehead, especially because where I'm powdering now, not necessarily the eyes, but around here and my forehead, I can get a little shiny. So it's just kind of bringing that across a little bit. Anything that's remainder in there, I just sweep around, get all the excess off, and I just kind of dab anywhere that's not the cheek area, because I still want to keep that glow, but it's just helping to set a little bit of that bronzer. I keep it very light. I do it very, very lightly. If you suffer from more of the drier skin, going heavy on powder isn't necessary. If you're quite oily, then you might want to go a bit heavier with it, but that's just how I personally do it. Now we've done this is when I will go into my brows. That's the wrong side. Go into my brows, and again I just kind of carve out the lines slightly underneath here, brush up. I personally brush up. My brows are very, everyone does their brows slightly differently, and you know, half the time when I do my brows it doesn't actually turn out the way I want it to turn out, but I kind of brush up, and then here is kind of where I have the slight gap, so then I start to brush down to kind of connect it, and then for the front I just go completely up. So this is completely up, this is like diagonally up, and then I curve it down. That's just how I personally do it. And then go across just to kind of brush up the hairs a little bit more. I mean, there's not much difference because I've got quite thick eyebrows anyway, but this is just personally what works for me. And it just keeps it, again, natural without overly drawing in the brows. You don't, you know, if you're doing something that's quite light and then all of a sudden you've got these big, dark, thick eyebrows, it's just a bit much. So I try to keep it a bit more, just to fill them in a little bit, get a little bit of shape to them. Then we're going to move on to mascara. So I'm still using my brown mascara. This is from 17, again, very cheap, does the job. There are mascaras I prefer. I'm tempted once I finish this one to try some different ones, but again, very affordable. So if you've never tried brown mascara before and it's something you kind of want to try, then going for something like 17 or even Collection will be a good starting point, just to kind of see and get a feel for it. But again, just kind of, I tend to go up first, and then once I've done that, I kind of do the little shimmy upwards to try and get the volume, get it stuck in the lashes and bring it up. I do a couple of coats for this, so I do find this, it does take a while to build up, whereas you get some mascaras that just build up super quickly, but this one I have to do a couple of coats. And the bottom lashes, I just dab, so don't want to go make them too thick, as again it's meant to be like an everyday casual look, so I just do a little, just little dabs rather than strokes. Next is lips, and again I keep this one very, very simple and strip it back. I love a good lipstick and I love wearing that throughout the day, but when it's just every day, especially when you're going to work, I work in a gym, so you know, getting completely dolled up isn't really a go-to, especially if I want to do my own session after or anything like that. So keeping it very simple but still kind of like it's your lips is the aim that I'm going for. Actually forgot to put on my lip balm, which I normally do, so that bit hasn't changed, but we're not going to worry about it too much. I'm just going to put the tiniest bit on now, just again smooth it out for the eyeliner, for the lip pencil. So with any kind of lip pencil that you want that's more of a neutral one, again this is in Chauffeur, which is the Revolution one, which is one of my favourites. I find it just goes with everything, and I never have it super sharp because I find it glides on a little bit nicer than if it was really sharp. That's just me, everyone's different. And then again I just kind of slightly overline at the top and bring it down, and then just go across here. So you can see it's still very neutral. It still kind of looks like my lips. It's not completely switching up the colour, but it's just giving it a little bit of depth, which is what we want. We've done that, we're just going to blend it in a little bit with a brush. So this is the brush I will tend to use if it is concealer, and you're just going to lightly tap just to smudge it out a little bit. So again, it's not so harsh. I don't tend to do this a lot if I'm actually putting on lipstick, but once we've done this, we're going to actually just go over the top with a little bit of lip balm again. This can be any lip balm. This is the raspberry one from, I think it's from Body Shop. Don't know how much it was because my sister got me this. But yeah, it could be any one you want. I tend to pop it on my nail and then go across and just very lightly say on the other side. that just kind of brings that moisture and that hydration and a little bit of sheen to it again. And that is everything. So I'll take these clips out. Hair wise, I always kind of have it in a low bun. I will sometimes, if it's like getting close to hair wash day, kind of sleek it completely back, but generally if I'm at work, I tend to just have it like this. Yeah, this is the look. So again, keeping it very simple, very fresh. This is just my everyday makeup. This is how I do it nowadays. Like I said, a lot of it's quite similar, but there's a few little different ways I'm doing things now, like how I apply the foundation, what I'm doing, mixing in with the blushes, how I do my brows now, everything like that. And obviously the lips is a little bit different. So yeah, I just thought I'd do a little bit of an updated routine. And this is all affordable. This is all stuff, again, from Revolution, 17 and Collection. And the only thing, no, this is Revolution as well, sorry. The only thing that was a little bit different was obviously the highlighter and the Temu kind of glue gel, but you can get anything that you want from this. I think this might have been £5. Again, quite an affordable brand. You can get it from Boots, Superdrug. You can probably even search it, you can get it online. But yes, but I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I enjoy making these. I hope it gave you a few tips on trying something maybe a little bit different if you wanted to kind of switch up your makeup routine a little bit, or if you were a bit unsure on how to apply certain things. I hope these helped you. But enjoy your day, guys, and I will see you in the next one.